Hi everyone, and welcome to Jane Talks Real. It's Slayer Sunday, where I'll be talking about and reviewing all the episodes of Buffy the Vampire Slayer in order. Today I'm looking at Season 3, Episode 1, Anne. We begin the episode with some dude named Andrew rising from his grave, only to find himself at the feet of a smug Willow. Xander grabs him, but Oz fumbles with a stake and gets kicked in the face.
He's getting away! And ow!
Oz jumps up to take care of things.
That really never works.
Oh, I freaking love this show. The gang discuss how much they suck, and not only is Oz wearing a t-shirt that used to belong to Xander, but he also seems to have adopted his giant clothes style. They mention that school starts tomorrow, and Willow wishes she knew where Buffy was. Buffy is dreaming about the beach and snuggling Angel and wakes up only for her cross necklace to vanish between shots. She looks out of the window onto the streets of LA, and into the credits we go. Credits which include Seth Green, finally, and David Boreanaz, so expect some shoehorned in dream sequences in the next couple of episodes. Buffy works at a diner under the name Anne, where she's perved at by two truckers, and whoa, who stuck the floor on the ceiling? One of them slaps her ass, but she decides not to eviscerate them, and she stops by a table with two loved up teens. They don't have much money because they spent most of it on shitty matching tattoos, and the girl seems to recognise her, which is not surprising seeing as they got locked in a vampire worship club together. The library is absolutely bumping, so who knows why Giles and Willow decide to talk about last night's vampire activities in the middle of it all. Giles tells Willow to be careful, and then she meets Cordelia, who is happy she gets to see Xander again, but worries he might have met someone else. And then Willow spots Oz, who admits that he's having to repeat his final year of high school, despite him being established as a genius in What's My Line. Xander is excited to see Cordelia.
Your hair is fine.
And Larry is pumped for the new sporting season, providing they don't die mysteriously. After all that hype, Cordelia and Xander don't have much to say to each other. But wait, we need to go back. All we just saw is kind of redundant, except for Oz now being in the same class as the others. But that whole thing was one long take, and considering the length of the sequence, the number of extras, and the amount of dialogue, that is pretty damn impressive. Buffy is sad in her apartment, so she goes for a walk where she passes an old homeless lady who says she's no one. Giles gets a call about a possible Buffy sighting and rushes off to catch a flight, but Xander is dubious because this has happened 9 times before without result. Buffy is walking along when Diner Girl calls her by her real name. Lily assures her she understands what it's like to want to disappear, and Buffy explains that Anne is her middle name. She asks Buffy if she wants to go to a party, but Buffy says she wants to be left alone, before they're barged into by an old man saying he's no one, and he walks into the road. Buffy runs to help him and is hit by a car, but screw getting medical attention, and she rushes off only to bump straight into some guy and knocks his flyers flying. He introduces himself as Ken and invites her to his help group, and we get a montage of teens begging on the street with the song provided by a live band at the Bronze, Belly Love. And I'm sorry, how does this club have an endless supply of money to afford live bands every single night? Anyway, Xander is bummed out that Cordelia is ignoring him, Buffy is not around, and they suck at slaying vampires. But Willow is more upbeat about things. Joyce is at home when there's a knock at the door, but she's disappointed to find that it's Giles. She invites him in, and he said the lead was a bust, but she's thankful he tried, and says she's scared to leave the house in case Buffy calls. Giles says she's very capable and will be fine, but she isn't sure.
Joyce, you mustn't blame yourself for her leaving.
But she turns around and straight up blames Giles for everything that happened.
I feel like you've taken her away from me.
And Jesus, this episode got real heavy real fast. Lily rushes into the diner and tells Buffy Ann that Ricky has gone missing and wants help. And while she's reluctant at first, Buffy relents and goes with her to the blood bank, where she and Ricky frequently donated. They ask if Ricky's been there, and wasn't this the lady that was the receptionist in Friends when Ross got hit in the face with a hockey puck? The pair form a plan.
So probably go faster if we split up. Can I come with you?
And I didn't think it was possible, but I'm both Buffy and Lily in this scene. The doctor says he hasn't been in, but she's clearly lying, and Buffy goes poking around in the dark, where she finds the man from earlier. At least, I think it's the same guy. But when she checks his pulse, she discovers it's somehow Ricky, because no 2 people would get that ugly ass tattoo. She breaks the news to Lily, but they're both confused about how he could have aged so rapidly. And much like Joyce, Lily turns around and blames Buffy, accusing her of bringing some sort of monster with her from Sunnydale. Buffy tells Lily to sod off, so she does. And has Buffy's hair been red this whole episode? I must not have been paying attention. Ken finds Lily outside upset and says that Ricky is alive and well at his group, so she goes with him. Buffy breaks into the blood bank and snoops around, finding out he's a candidate for something, and rips the phone out of the wall when the doctor threatens to call the police. She demands answers, and the doctor tells her that she just passes the names of healthy kids on to Ken, who is prepping Lily for a ritual, and you'd think she'd learn by now. Back in Sunnydale, in the hopes of killing the vampire from earlier, the Scoobies use Cordelia as bait, but she's too busy arguing with Xander, and the vamp sneaks up on Willow. Ken tells Lily to kneel in front of an icky pool of goop, while Buffy tries to blag her way in, but decides, screw it, and kicks her way in instead. Buffy bursts in as Lily is sucked into the CGI pit, and when she tries to jump in after her, Ken grabs her so they both drop through. The fall reveals Ken's true face, so everybody run! They find themselves in what looks like Heisenberg's factory, and stop to stare at it for a while, despite being pursued. Xander and Cordelia continue to argue, and when Willow screams, it's Oz who dives in out of nowhere like a tiny flying ninja. Xander, with a little unplanned help from Cordelia, manages to dust it, and they make out. Buffy and Lily wake up in a cage with Lily thinking they're in hell. And what the hell are you smiling at? You're not going on the death count, so you can sod right off. Ken pops back up to explain the rules of this place.
100 long years will pass here. On Earth, it's just a day.
So that explains why Ricky was suddenly really old. He also says that they only abduct people like Lily because they won't be missed, and they're tossed in with other prisoners. Some guy is beaten down when he answers a question wrong, but he's not a confirmed kill. And while Lily and the others keep their heads down and say they're no one, well, our gal has other ideas.
Who are you?
I'm Buffy, the vampire slayer, and you are?
Oh wait, this guy is dead, and the internet confirms it.
Carry on!
A fight ensues and, I'm at a loss of what to do here. I've watched this sequence several times, and it's hard to tell what's a kill and what's not. So the first guy just kind of falls on the floor, so not a kill. The second guy gets smacked in the face, which killed a human but might not have killed him. But this third guy, Buffy sticks the axe into his chest and he falls, not taking it out again, so I'm going to count it as a kill, I think. Buffy gets the prisoners to follow her and then separates from them when a siren sounds. She runs through the factory and fights the guards as Lily ushers the others to safety, but Ken is not impressed. Buffy fights a bunch of guards with no obvious fatalities until this guy. And then she's seriously overwhelmed, while Ken holds a knife to Lily's throat to use her as leverage. He threatens to kill them all, but he lets go of Lily to give a grand speech, and she shoves him off the ledge to his death. Buffy ninja warriors her way back up to the others, and lifts a gate to free them, only to be tackled by Ken, who's not quite dead yet. Wait, now he is. The group climbs out of the goop, which seals itself up, and Buffy passes her apartment, job, and identity onto Lily, before Joyce hears a knock at the door, and now I'm crying. Why am I crying? God, this show is so good at hitting you in the feels. Okay, so it's very clear that there's an increase in budget and production just from the camera work and how many extras were in it alone. It's a good solid opener and continues the story exploring Buffy's state of mind from the season 2 finale. It's nice to have Lily back to keep the show connected, but there's something about this episode that stops me from really liking it, and that's the setting. To me, Sunnydale itself is a character, so the small town charm was definitely absent from the main story, which is why I much preferred the B-plot with the Scoobies trying to fight vampires, something we will get a repeat of in a much later season. I'm so glad we get full-on Oz this season, and it's interesting to see him take over as Willow's protector. Whereas Xander would always be the first to rush into the rescue, it's now Oz who dived in headfirst with no regard for his own safety. I could talk for ages about how much I love Oz, but back to the Buffy storyline. It's really telling that after the events of Becoming, Buffy wants to lose her identity, but when she's faced with the idea of someone else stripping her of her identity, she actually fights against it and reclaims who she really is. This show really is powerful when delivering an emotional moment, and all it took was one look, no dialogue, and a bit of score to make me cry like a baby. As we're in a new season, I'm resetting the death count again, because I know you're all probably sick of that one zombie, one mummy bullshit from season 2. So this season kicks off with a solid 6 deaths. 2 humans, Old Man Ricky who drank bleach and died, and Aaron who had the audacity to have an identity and was killed by one of the guards. Our one vampire was a team effort, although he was mostly killed by Xander, and we had 3 demons. This guard who scraped onto the death count by the skin of the axe in his chest, this guy who for sure bit the big one courtesy of Buffy, and Ken who was pushed off a ledge by Lily and impaled with a gate before Buffy cracked his head open like a coconut. Nice. So there you have it. That was Anne. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, or come say hi on social media. If you enjoyed this video, then please hit that like button, it really does mean a lot. Or consider subscribing if you want more videos like this one. Thank you so much for watching, I'll speak to you soon, and don't let the vampires bite.